Hey, welcome to my basement, everybody. We've got a special episode today, and it's dedicated to Star Wars and Lego. We have the level designer from Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, Mike Consalvey, with us today. Mike, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, nice to meet you, Victor.
Nice to meet you too. How do you feel right now? I see you've got a gold master or a published master framed behind you. That must feel pretty good.
So this is actually because we get a free copy for working on the game. So I figured I just wanted to put that together myself. So I just ordered a frame online, stuck it together, and thought I'd showcase that off. So
that's awesome.
Turned out all right.
So that's the retail copy of the game that you have framed behind you.
Yeah, I thought why not? It's my first credit as a designer, so we had to. I had to do something to commemorate it.
That's wonderful. The whole team must feel, I mean, it's sitting at about 83 from the critics on Metacritic and 88 from users. People love this freaking game, as do I. The team must feel elated. It's been a long development. You know, it's taken a long time for this thing to get out there, but the reward now of people playing it and the streams and the tweets you guys must be getting must feel pretty good.
Yeah, my phone's been pretty much almost melting at this point with Twitter notifications and all that sort of thing. But yeah, we're just really, really happy with the reception that the game has been getting. The reviews have been coming in are really fantastic, and the fans have just took to it like crazy. I mean, we really went all out with this one to make sure it is what we say it is, and that is like the biggest Lego Star Wars experience to date. And I feel like we've accomplished that. And yeah, the team are just really happy with the reception, and we're just really glad fans are enjoying it.
Talk to me about working at TT Games, and you have friends that aren't in the video game industry that might have kids. Do they just bug the crap out of you for free games? Like, is it just like miserable for you to go to any social gatherings because I've got, my kids would love. Do you get hounded for that kind of stuff, or are you cool?
I wouldn't say it's too crazy, but if I ever say that I work in the games industry, some people right off the bat, without even questioning what games I make, they're jumping on me say, "Oh, do you work on Call of Duty? Oh, do you work on Grand Theft Auto?" It's like, no, we're more Lego games. Yeah, that's where our bread and butter is at TT Games. So I think like people are fans of Lego and any of these IPs that we associate with Lego. So of course, Lego Star Wars is the big one. So like people are just sort of really excited for the final result, really.
It is the big one. And one of the things that definitely comes up when you talk about this, especially if you've been in the business as long as I have, is that we've seen Lego Star Wars many times before. Was there a mood at TT Games like, why are we doing this again? Or was there an excitement? Or did you guys realize that there is a lot of uncharted territory, a lot of things that you could add that you've always wanted to, and it instilled this fervor to, throw everything and the kitchen sink into this game?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, when you look back at the Lego Star Wars games that we have done, times change, sort of the way people play games these days. They evolve with the times as the technology gets better and better. So when it came to the Skywalker Saga, it was a case of, look, the last game we did was like Force Awakens in the Lego Star Wars, and it was like,
yep.
Now that we're entering like the PS5, Xbox Series X era, it was sort of like, would it make sense to just do a Last Jedi or a Rise of Skywalker standalone games? And really, we just thought, if we're actually rounding out the complete saga with Episode 9 coming out, why not just celebrate that entire Skywalker Saga and have everything encompassed in one real like fun package for everyone to really like celebrate what Star Wars is and what Lego Star Wars is to our fans. So it was really just a case of, let's make a totally brand new experience. Yes, it might have the familiarities of what makes Lego Star Wars what it is, but with a new spin on it in terms of like how the characters move, how the environments look, and how like we don't want to really retread the same story because it is Star Wars. It's everyone, most of those how Star Wars goes. We want to sort of avoid retreading the same sort of territory, but like give players an entirely new way to actually experience the story.
How much were you guys emboldened by The Force Awakens, because you guys are introducing a lot of these types of concepts into that game? And to its credit, it was a great game. It was a really mature and solid Star Wars Lego experience. Was that kind of the jumping off point? Did you realize that you could be a little bit more daring with mixing up the way the game played?
Yeah, because it was a few mechanics that we had within Force Awakens that worked really well to an extent of like say the cover shooting mechanics.
Yep.
That was the first for that game as well. So it's sort of like, how can we further like develop those on a grander scale with what we're trying to do with the Skywalker Saga? So it's really taking what we know from there, and again with all the other projects we've done on Lego Star Wars, it's really just sort of, let's just go big or go home. Do you know what I mean? It's like we really want to like do everything we can to make it like what we say is, again, like the biggest and best one.
Well, I saw the game at E3 2019, and it felt like it was going to be coming out in 2020. It felt like a lot of the concepts were already in play and in place. Obviously, the pandemic has affected every company and everybody on Earth. Was that what slowed the development down? I mean, can you point just at COVID-19 and saying, well, that was exactly what happened with the delays, or was it just a case of there was so much game, or both?
There's a lot of contributing factors, and of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, was one of them. But it's not like we sort of overscoped or sort of that we knew what we were doing, but it was sort of like, wow, we really need to take our time to actually meet the fans' expectations, but also like give the time it needs to be what it is. And like, yeah, we didn't want to just rush it out. So obviously when we said 2020, it was very, very early days, and that demo was really just what we say it was, and that was just scratching the surface. Whereas you look at the entire game as a whole now, and then you can sort of understand why we've taken those extra measures and just took as much time as we need to really make it more like polished and just a really fun experience for everyone. And I think the extra time really did help us.
Oh, absolutely. And I said this in my review that if this was the first one, this would be a Game of the Year contender. Like, people would be flipping out, like, how did you guys accomplish? But of course, TT's got a really long history. Now you've kind of changed the game for your company and your studio, right? Now everybody has got this new expectation. Like we had an expectation of this pacing of incredible product tied to licensed stuff in the past. Now you've done the summation of 40 years of Star Wars lore in one game. That's what we're going to want out of you from every game now. You guys realize that, right?
It's a good job.
So
I don't make those decisions.
Good luck on that. Yeah.
That's one for the higher ups. That isn't for me. But like, yeah, the Skywalker Saga, it, like, when you really think about what it is, like all 9 films, one big major game. Yeah, we've set like the highest bar for ourselves, really. Like, and then
Totally.
It's like moving forward, we just sort of like, it's like, I think at the E3 presentations we were saying that it is like, this is the start of what the future of Lego games could be. And
Right.
yeah, we can always look to this game now and say, listen, this has worked really well for us. So like, it's obviously something we'll look at in terms of projects for the future.
What is your favorite component of the game? When you stand back, and obviously you're very close to it and you've played it to death, that's why you can package up your retail build. You don't need to play it anymore. But what is your favorite element? What do you think you guys nailed the best, that you're the proudest of?
So to answer the first thing, I definitely am still playing it. I claim I got a digital version of the game, so I could actually wrap this one up. So okay. I am still playing it for myself. Yeah, but for the game itself, I feel like the amount of freedom right off the bat that we're giving to the player, right from the beginning, where you've got like the choice of which of the trilogies you actually want to play, and even the option that if you want to quit midway through and go to a different trilogy, you've got the freedom to do so. But not only that, in terms of like speaking for myself, when it came to doing the level design, it's the amount of freedom that we're giving the players in terms of like a lot of the options on how you actually want to progress, whether it is like going in all guns blazing, or simply just allowing the player to have that ability to just explore for themselves and just seeing what the best way they can use all the characters that they have access to. So like, for example, in the first level of episode 7, right off the bat, like, I think all in all in that level you can probably complete the level in 6 or 7 different ways, but yeah, it's given the players that environment to actually just discover it for themselves. And it's just been really fun to just see how players have actually been taking it on, whether it's making use of Finn being a stormtrooper and using like the villain access and sneaking through, or just using Poe and his blaster rifle and just stealing a key card and running into the hangar and causing chaos. It's providing that level of freedom to players to actually be able to play how they really want to play. And again, that continues into the open worlds, whether they actually just want to carry on with the story or just explore Tatooine or Coruscant, just speaking to all these different NPCs and taking on quests and stuff like that. There's just so much to do. So I think just the freedom that we're just giving the players has just been one of the key factors into this game, really.
Awesome. You worked as a tester on previous Lego Star Wars games. Have you worked on other Lego games as well, or has it always been Star Wars for you?
No, pretty much like 90% of all the games I've worked on have been Lego games during my time at TT. Yeah, so
amazing.
Back during so I got my start in QA in 2010, working on Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars.
Right.
So that was a really fun project to start on, and then I worked my way up. Did Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego Harry Potter years 5 to 7, Lego Batman 2, Lord of the Rings, the list goes on, really. So
with all the SKUs of all of those games, you probably have like 100 different games that you're credited in right now, which is incredible, man.
Yeah, the list of credits is ridiculous now. No, it's just been a real fun experience to experience all these different games during my time at TT. It's just been real experience, and this one in particular means the most to me, with it being my first credit as a designer. It's just it was my dream job to be able to jump onto this project and for it to be awesome. A Star Wars game again.
Star Wars game.
Yeah, the Star Wars game for sure. Yeah, but it's meant the world to me to be on this project. So yeah,
that's dope. I visited TT in 2008. Our company produced the behind the scenes on Lego Batman. So I traveled to Knutsford and saw the studio and saw all the way that the games were coming together. But it's a different TT games now, right? I mean, I think one of the things that's happened from work from home and through a lot of the sort of, I guess the awareness of development has changed a lot over the last 15 years or so. Does it feel like the same company, or does it feel like there's a freshness to the studio and does it feel like things have changed quite a bit since when you first started there?
I guess it's all reliant on the amount of people that we work with. I guess since 2008, if you're looking at what the size of the company now, we've grown exponentially.
Sure.
I think between each of the, so we have the Knutsford studio, we have the Wilmslow studio, and then we've got our other offices in Maidenhead and that sort of thing. So I think you're talking 600 plus employees, all in all within TT Games as a whole. So it's we've greatly
there might have been
expanded.
100 when I was there. Yeah,
there you go.
Crazy.
And we've so that in itself, the growth, especially, but it's all about the people really who we've been working with over the years, and we have seen recently we've got a new studio manager in Michael Denny, well experienced through Sony PlayStation years, so he's been really good since jumping on board and stuff like that. But the aura of what TT Games is pretty much still the same, but it's now we've been working on this massive project. It's sort of this is really what TT Games is now and how we should look moving forward, really.
I love that. What do people not, expect or respect about how a Lego game comes together? What are they not aware of? One of the, the intricacies of development or maybe the unobtainable or the key core element of making a Lego experience. What do people kind of take for granted about that, do you think?
I think one of the if you look at our back catalogue, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can just rebuild that into a new game, and it's no,
yeah.
That's not how game development works. That's it's not just a case of just change color Lego bricks and just slap it on new IP on it. That's just absolutely not how it works. You have to literally build every piece. I think the tech artists, they actually have an entire library of Lego pieces that they will in engine put together and actually build all these massive things like you see. So the Sarlacc pit, for example, in in Tatooine, that was handmade by someone. It's not I think a lot of people expect that you can just quickly sort of chop and change things, but it's no, it's people spend a lot of time making these games from the ground up, and it's not just a case of just slap a different color onto a Lego piece and call it something else.
I guess because that's a core thing, right? Like the digital creations you build, they're animated, but Lego, that relationship also means that they can also be physically built with the right pieces. And so there has to be a one-to-one thing. And that must just be unbelievable 3D kind of, math in order to figure out how to put all that together.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think when we did the E3 presentations, one of the points I made in one of the presentations was one of the capital ships that comes into play during one of the space battles.
Yeah,
that's made out of 18 million individual Lego bricks. So that in itself is sort of mind-blowing to think like someone pieced that together. But if that was built in real life, I wouldn't want to imagine what the physical instructions would look like on that. Do you know what I mean? So, I believe it was sort of like the size of a football pitch or something.
Amazing.
Like that. So yeah, it's unbelievable what like the artists and everyone working on the game have been able to accomplish with this. It's been crazy to see.
So one of the things that's happened with Lego is obviously they're starting to stretch out and do different types of projects, and we're seeing Lego games come up in different ways. There's stuff on the Apple App Store and stuff. Yep. Talk to me about the relationship that TT still has with Lego. Is it still? Are you going to be focused still kind of on Lego experience? Is that still the driving force for the team, or are you guys thinking about other types of games now?
We're still working on Lego games. That's been it's been our bread and butter since Lego Star Wars. So yeah, for the foreseeable, we're still working on the Lego games for the time being. Obviously, I can't say what's next, but But yeah, Lego games are our focus. Yeah.
And so that relationship is still super tight with Lego, and they must be over the moon with Lego Skywalker Saga.
I mean, I'd like to think so. With the with how much we've sold in in this past week, it's just been the numbers have been really crazy. But yeah, our relationship with Lego has always been like really great. They've been really good to us over the years, and they've been really good. So yeah, that's our focus right now. Is more like
how we're Disney and Lucasfilm right now. How's that relationship? Are they? I'm sure it was a lot of stress because the months kept going, and I mean it hasn't been easy for anybody. But I'm sure there's been stress around getting this project completed and out there. And also, I think there's probably been a little bit of like, the movies are over, and it's been a couple of years, and now everybody's talking about The Mandalorian. Thankfully, you have Mandalorian in the game here. But how do they feel now? How's that relationship, and how's everybody doing right now?
I mean, during the development, we're constantly in contact with Lucasfilm and Disney in terms of like the stuff that we're putting into the game. Obviously, there's an approval process on some things.
Sure.
And with ideas will be like thrown back and forth and all that sort of thing. So like we've always been in contact with them, and I don't know what the communication has been since the game has launched, but I can only imagine they're ecstatic about the feedback that the game has got, and I think they've been understanding about the extra time that we've been taking to make sure the game is what we say it is, and hopefully, I think they'll agree that they're pretty happy with what we've put out there.
Yeah, totally. Star Wars has changed a lot since you guys started this project, right? We saw the sort of culmination of a whole, saga in.
I mean, we thought it was complete. We called it complete. We thought it was complete. No, there's another trilogy. So let's do that as well.
Yeah, and here's Obi-Wan about to launch and stuff. Were you guys, during the course of development? I mean, you got pieces of content in there that kind of connect us to other things. But were you thinking, oh my God, we now have to make a Mandalorian part of the and you don't have to spoil anything, but is there plans for that, or were you guys thinking about that? Like, how did the impact of this new extended, Filoni-verse of Star Wars, how did that affect you guys?
I mean, immediately, like we've got the character packs out there, so we obviously had them waiting to go when the game launched, but again, it goes back to what we're talking about in terms of look at what the core game experience is. It's 9 movies worth of content, 23 planets, 45 levels, over 400 characters. That in itself is a lot of content. Like that, some people might not understand how much it takes to be able to do all that. So it's like to think about anything else would be more ambitious than the game actually is at its core. So it's like, a lot of the time, we just really had to focus on making sure that the Skywalker Saga as itself is the best it can possibly be, but without overcomplicating things in terms of like more and more of this extra content that's coming in from Disney Plus and all that sort of thing. So as much as we might want to dive into everything, it's sort of making sure the core game as it is.
Yeah, you got to finish the game.
Quality. And yeah, we need to finish the game. It's sort of like we've held off for this amount of time to make sure it is what it is. So yeah, we're happy with what we've done.
I tweeted out the other day about what you guys should work on next. And so I've got 4 ideas for you, okay? So I did a little poll. I said, what should TT Games and Lego make next? And put Lego James Bond, Lego MCU. So like really, I know you've done the Avengers games and stuff, but it'd be crazy to do like the whole run of the MCU. I mean, that's what we're going to expect out of you guys now, right? Lego Transformers, and I don't know how the rights issues are around all that stuff. And the Lego Batman movies. And you guys have done Lego Batman games for sure, but the movies you could dive into with the Dark Knight and the Batman franchise that's happening, and the old Tim Burton Batman movies. Throw in the Adam West one in there too. So I'll tell you what's in the lead, and then you can tell me which one you're actually doing. Lego Transformers is in the lead, and that's at 37.3%. I'm a bit surprised about that because I think the natural is Lego James Bond. Lego MCU follows that, and then I guess because we've had so much Lego Batman stuff, Lego Batman's in the last place. But I think they're all pretty solid ideas. I didn't get a lot of hate tweets saying those are crap ideas, and this is the ones that you should. So I think I nailed some pretty good ones right there. Do you want to take this opportunity to confirm that you're making Lego Transformers or Lego James Bond?
Neither of those. I'm sorry, we're not doing any of those. Obviously, I can't say what we're working on next, but those are some ideas. I mean, you could probably think of any sort of IP in front of Lego and just think that would actually be really cool. Like, you can. That's the beauty of Lego, is endless sort of ideas you can come up with everything. So that's the beauty of how like Lego works. But obviously, like, I'm a big Batman nerd myself. But obviously we put out a lot of Batman content in the past. But like, I'd love to do a Batman game, for instance. But like, what we're working on next, you'll just have to wait and see on that one, I'm afraid, Victor.
Yeah, no worries. Is this going to be the pace that we see? Because obviously one of the things that we expect from, or have seen from TT, is like this release calendar, bang, and then you guys did Dimensions, and we were all like, how the hell did you do that? It was incredible. But there was, this cadence of 4 games a year, it felt like, from Lego experiences. And now it's been several years since we've had a new Lego experience. Is that the way that development is going to go? Like, or is it going to be a couple of years until we see your new one, or what do you think?
It's about striking the balance between like the quality and the quantity.
Yeah.
About how many Lego games that. So when it came to Skywalker Saga, it was a case of let's take our time with it and make sure that the quality standards meet what fans expect of what they see from Lego games moving forward. So I think this is one of the prime examples of why we should sort of spend a bit more time working on them rather than point out one after the other within the space of a few years and stuff like that. So I think from now on, it'll be this sort of organized way of let's take our time with each project moving forward.
Right on. I'm happy to hear that. You guys did all the cut sequences in-house, or did you farm that to a CG place?
No, we had in-house cutscene animators, cutscene directors, everybody that they absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. It's incredible. There's still cutscenes I'll see in the game and I'll be laughing my head off, even though I've seen it a million times.
Yes.
It'll never not make me laugh. They've just been absolutely great with it.
Mitch Dyer, who I'm a buddy with, he worked on Battlefront 2, the story campaign at EA, and he tweeted out the Darth Maul cutscene when Darth Maul gets killed at the end, and he's just a head with a lightsaber in his mouth. It's insane. Obviously there's the Lego animated work, but you guys that is on Disney Plus and all that stuff. But you guys have built so much animated stuff for this game. It almost feels like you did the whole saga as a Lego movie. Again, it's built right into the game.
Yeah, it just sort of, it's kudos to the animation team, the cutscene department, even like the writing in itself. Like, we've had writers on this to really sort of, like, the entire game really is a celebration of what Star Wars is. But with Lego, we can take like we can add the humor to it, just sort
Totally.
of like
Yeah.
just to get like a more sort of humorous like experience, just sort of not poking fun at, but just sort of like highlighting the sort of wacky factors that Star Wars can introduce. So
Dude,
like
I love the Chewbacca just getting ignored over and over and over again. The running through line of Chewie just getting completely dissed all the way through is incredible.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite running gags throughout is just how blatantly a villain Palpatine is, but without letting anyone around him know. So he's sat there eating popcorn before he turns around and pretends he's handcuffed to the chair before the Dooku fight and stuff like that. So it's like, there's just so many like running gags and all the rest of it. But yeah, the cutscene department have been fantastic in sort of retelling Star Wars, but in Lego form, and it's just been amazing to see.
I mean, kudos to that team. They really killed it. And I don't know if everybody kind of appreciates how much work that is. And the thing about it, though, is that there, I think, are pretty deliberate choices about this is a cutscene moment. Like I'm thinking of the AT-ATs or whatever they're called on Crate coming towards the rebels, and then everybody jumps into a ship. I thought we were going to fly those ships, but it's a cut sequence as we watch all that stuff. And that must be a tricky thing for you guys on the development side to decide what we're going to play and what we're going to watch and what's going to carry the story forward and what's going to be gameplay. I guess that must take a little bit of back and forth before you can determine all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of like we have to be very careful on how we sort of pick and choose what bits to do to keep things consistent with the flow of the entire game. So making sure, like for the levels, for example, we want to hit this mark of being like the all killer, no filler sort of experience that might take between 5 and 10 minutes if you just rush right through. So like it's picking carefully how we sort of choose which segments to really go for that are going to hit the right notes in terms of the pace and how things play out in terms of the story context, whether that's a fight with Darth Maul or Battle of Hoth in like the Echo Base and stuff like that. So it's making sure we're hitting all the right notes in terms of like picking and choosing which gameplay segments to really like hone in on.
Have you guys done a a scour through reviews and tweets and stuff like that to kind of figure out what has resonated the most, like elements that people are really talking about again and again, and maybe that's a surprise to you?
I'd say that process is still ongoing. The amount of reviews that we've had so far coming in, it's really just scouring all the YouTube videos. And
it's a lot,
all the Metacritic reviews and all that sort of thing. So it's sort of like I'll be picking and choosing and running through them and see what they like, what they didn't like, and how things were just received in general, whether they actually hit those notes that we were going for in terms of like the design of the levels and how things played out. Are they doing what we expected them to do during those gameplay moments? So far it's been fascinating to see how people are receiving it, and it's just been really, really good. Like, I'm genuinely happy with what we've been seeing so far.
That's great. Has there been any criticism or anything that has been eye-opening for you, or you've appreciated that you've been able to see so far?
Other than potentially any bugs or anything like that that have come through, that we're moving quickly to address, as with any launch game, that's the sort of thing you can expect in this day and age, sadly. But that's the sort of thing that we're looking to immediately. So, dude,
you guys made 1 million versions, and the Switch version is awesome. I could not believe it. I streamed it. I talked about it in the review because I'd been playing on the Series X, and it's like, oh my god, it's pristine, it's beautiful. And then I went to the Switch, and I was expecting a carve back, but there is, but it's still great, and it looks great, and it plays great. So kudos to your Switch group.
Yeah, the Switch has performed really, really well, and like even the reviews specifically for the Switch have just been fantastic to see. So like, I was genuinely surprised because some like sometimes you expect a performance standard that you've expected from a Switch game, which is sort of fair to say, but the fact that we've been able to keep it stable and making sure it actually performs well has just been we're just really happy with how it's been received.
The Switch is an amazing. It's my favorite console. It's an incredible machine, but it doesn't have the horsepower. It doesn't have the juice of the other machines, right? So when a game comes out and it's multi-platform and it runs that well on the Switch, kudos, man. That's huge. The Steam Deck version though needs to be tuned. Is that something that you guys are looking at right now? On the core, I know you can put different firmware onto the machine because it's Linux based and it will run better. But on the core, approved by Valve firmware, the Steam Deck, I tried streaming it the other day and it wasn't running that great.
I was led to believe we weren't supporting Steam Deck right off the bat.
Okay.
So if it's working for some people, great. But as far as I'm aware, I wasn't sure that we were actually.
You can roll back Proton and try some experimental Proton firmware packs on Steam Deck, and you can get it running better.
Right.
So you're not doing it right out of the gate, but is it something that you will do? Because I'm a fan of Steam Deck. It's really an amazing portal into PC gaming.
It's probably something that I could ask around about. It's not in my wheelhouse in terms
do
of
it for me, man. Fix it for me, okay?
I can ask for sure.
Well, the one thing why I bring that up is because all the other Lego games, almost all of them, run beautifully on Steam Deck. And then I was looking forward. I was on the road when the game launched, and I was looking forward to playing it on the Steam Deck. I was like, nope, it's not. I mean, it works, but it's chuggy. It's
right.
Big code. Is there a property out there that Lego TT hasn't worked on, or Lego hasn't worked on that you would love to see happen? And this is, obviously the caveat here is that we're not confirming anything and we're not promising anything, but you personally, is there something that you would love to see in that scale?
A very, very good question. I'd have to think long and hard about that one. I don't have
Tron
any...
or Jaws.
Well, it's sort of like you can just think of any of the Lego sets that are out there currently that we could make into game form. Like I said, Tron, there was a Tron set for that, or
yep,
if anything that we've pretty much done, like say in Dimensions, like we had so many different level packs for that. You can imagine making full games out of those. So
totally.
I'm not sure how much you'd get out with making an entire Lego ET game. But,
yeah,
but I mean, you can see the ideas are there. Like,
yeah, you could make a good ET game, right? And one of the things that I said about Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga especially, is that it's this really solid experience in 3D playing characters that we love that we don't get. Like there really aren't any other, apart from, assuming the avatars in Battlefront or something like that, we don't really get to play as these characters and play through these stories because and there's nothing wrong with that, but most of the Star Wars games have preferred to create new stories and new characters that run parallel to what we know from the movies and the shows. And you guys go headlong into it. And this is, I think, the best 3D play the story Star Wars experience that's been built so far.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay.
That's been the goal. Is been to be the best Star Wars experience out there. Is to really celebrate what Star Wars is and episodes 1 through 9.
Yeah.
All of that together. Yeah.
You guys are clearly, incredibly talented and adept at making these beautiful Lego experiences. Does the team ever, approach, like, do you guys ever have a huddle and say, maybe we should try something that's not Lego? Maybe take this kind of experience and build, characters that look a little bit more photoreal or lifelike, or is the studio really focused on family-friendly Lego type of experiences?
For the most part, yeah. Our sort of history at TT Games is based on these family-friendly experiences solely focused on Lego. That's not to say we haven't tried working on non-Lego properties in the past. Like we've made, ironically, you mentioned Transformers. We made a Transformers movie game quite a while back, and
right,
we've also done Spy Hunter, which we did for, I think there was DS and Vita at the time. So it's not uncommon that
Mickey Mania for the Sega Genesis back in the day.
Yeah, going way back, even well before Lego Star Wars. Yeah, so it's not uncommon that we've not done any Lego related properties before, but because they've been pretty much the bread and butter of what makes TT today, it's sort of like we just want to keep making these Lego games. And now with Skywalker Saga, it's just a whole new level of what they can possibly be moving forward.
Totally. This is, I mean, obviously a question for Lego, but I'm curious if you guys ever have discussions like you're building this massive Star Wars experience, and obviously there's lots of great Lego Star Wars sets, but wouldn't this be the perfect time to make a Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga collection of Lego sets that tie with the game? Do you guys ever talk with Lego about doing stuff like that let you build some of the models or some of the set pieces that you love from the game as part of a set out there?
Well, that's one of the great things about the relationship that we have with Lego. Like I was talking to Neil Croftley, one of the head of characters and like some of the models team, and they created a lot of these creatures that we've seen in Star Wars before.
Yeah.
In the engine and using our own tech as original Lego like sets to show to Lego and say this is how this character.
So they've done that
Lego
before.
Form. Yeah. So one of the examples with I can't remember the name. It's like I think in episode 9 it's the Vexis snake.
Mm-hmm.
That was all original for Lego in our game, and we sort of made it and presented it to Lego as.
Oh wow! And then it ended up as a set.
It ended up being in the game as an approved Lego sort of how this would look in real life. I don't know if they've made it physically, but it's that sort of, we've had that creativity to be able to put these things together and go through the approval process with Lego, and they can sort of sign off on it. And whether they want to make it into a physical set, that's all on them really. But
that's awesome.
I'd love to see an entire Skywalker Saga set. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it'd be incredible, right? Like what an awesome opportunity. I feel like that licensing, I know because it's license after license after license, but I feel that connection because I've got, action figures and toys based on, like I've got these Turtles games or Turtles figures back here that NECA made based on the Turtles in Time video game. And then they made this whole range of Ninja Turtles video game characters based on a classic video game. And I feel that that's sitting right there for Lego to work with you guys to build sets based on all this. Yeah, I wanted to, everybody's got their favorite Star Wars movies. What's yours?
It's got to be Empire Strikes Back. That's that's for me.
That's mine too.
The best, yeah, for sure. And it was like, because when I look back at my time on the project, I've had like the privilege to actually like design levels for some of these cool iconic moments within Star Wars, and of course like the Vader fight. As soon as I knew I was going to be designing that one, I was just like, oh, let's go. I just wanted to sort of
that rocked. Right, by the way, that rocked. I loved it, and it sent chills down my spine. I loved all that. But talk to me about because people also have their least favorite Star Wars movies. But talk to me about how maybe a movie that you're not crazy about in the Star Wars pantheon ended up being good for gameplay. And I guess this is kind of getting you to say you didn't really love the movie, but you're allowed to not love all of these movies. But talk to me about maybe a movie that surprised you, or a scene from a movie that surprised you when it translated to a video game moment.
I'd probably go with, let's say, the finale of episode 9, for example.
Yeah.
Like with the, because there's so much going on during that final segment. So it was sort of like, depending on what your actual like thoughts are on that film or any of the other films for that matter, it's sort of, let's take what the cool moments are of that and let's just elaborate those a bit further in terms of like the gameplay. Again, hitting this sort of pace of all killer, no filler. Let's just go straight into the action and these sort of set pieces. So that whole ride along the Star Destroyer on the Orbaks to reach the end goal, but oh surprise, this BB-98 droid has its own boss fight. Like a BB boss, that wasn't the thing in Star Wars until we've thrown it in, just to sort of like, oh right, this is the thing, let's fight this. So it was sort of like, it's allowing us a bit of creative freedom to actually like bring something cool out of all these films that we really wanted to sort of like create some great gameplay from.
I love it, man. One of the things that's a highlight in this game, obviously, is everything's voiced, or you can choose to play it in the classic Lego way if you want to. Yeah. But one thing that you guys did with the Force Awakens game that blew me away is you actually had Harrison Ford voice Han Solo in that. And I think it's the only video game he's ever done. And I was blown away and so ecstatic because I'm a huge Harrison Ford fan. So it was amazing to see that happen. Now, you don't have, except for Anthony Daniels and Billy D. Williams, and are there other voice actors from the films in the games? Because it's a massive cast.
Yeah, I think, along with Billy D. Williams and Anthony Daniels, we have official voice casting from different shows. I think so. We had Rebels with Sam Witwer, who did amazing job as Palpatine, and a few.
He's amazing. Holy crap, he's so good.
Very, very good. So I think we have. They're all official, approved voice actors for a lot of the voices from all sorts of different shows. So I think it may just been the case of I don't know what they call it, first refusal. I think maybe from the main cast, and then I get these other actors to jump in who all done an amazing job. So even when I heard the Harrison Ford voice for the first time, I just thought it was just incredible.
Thought it was him. Yeah, I know, it's really good. The sound alikes are very, very good in this game.
Yeah.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer to play your Lego games with the voice acting, or do you prefer the mumble acting?
Personally, I think voiceovers are the way to go. It's just as much as the originals with the mumbles and all that sort of stuff had that charm with all the the movements and the mumbles to really convey what was going on in the story. But if we're wanting to tell an entire story, there's only so much you can do in terms of the mumbling and the motions of the characters and stuff like that. So to get the most out of it, I feel voice actors is the way to go for me. And
awesome.
But it's also fun to have the option, which is why we ended up including the mumble mode, just to have it there as just a just for fun for the fans thing. So we're glad fans are still enjoying that too.
How did you carve up the work? Because it's 9 huge chapters. It was every chapter basically a team, and worked on it a kind of like a mini game process, like a game development process, or did teams do some, kind of in sequential order, or they started on 1 and then they went over to 4? How did you guys carve all of that up with your various teams or team members out there?
So I think originally the game director and the assistant game director, they pretty much draw up what the entire sequence of events are, starting from beginning to end, going through all these levels in order and stuff like that. So depending on the size and scope of the level, depending on what type of gameplay it is, we'd prioritize those and assign it out to all the different teams. So me as a level designer, I'll create a level design document and do a block out of a level based on that particular moment. I'd present that to the rest of the team just to finalize everything that's going to go into the creation of that level. And we'd pretty much do that for every single level. So everyone will be assigned a particular level during each of the milestones throughout the development of the game, and that will just continue on until they're all pretty much created. So it's just we have dedicated teams for every single level, depending on what it is.
Oh, okay. So every level had at least a core, of how many people, 20 people or something like that, focused on specifics for each stage?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, there'll be, so for one level, for example, I'd be the level designer, but then you could have 1 or 2 coders working on a particular level.
And when you say level, do you mean the whole story, the whole chapter, or do you mean a one stage of one of them?
One story mission. Yeah.
Okay, one story mission.
Yeah.
Amazing, incredible. Yeah. Are you guys intimidated by this being your calling card now? Does it freak you out? Like if you guys do Jurassic Park again or Harry Potter, you're going to have to do all of this stuff. Does that worry you, or are you guys excited for that?
I think now it's just let's assess. Let's really sort of see the success of this game, and let's see what makes this. Let's see what the best bits of this game are, and see how we sort of take that moving forward. If we were doing every game like this, it's setting quite a high bar now.
Totally.
But it purely depends on what the next game actually is like. So obviously it's been.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can go back to one movie a game. I don't think you can do that again now. You guys have set yourself up a little bit.
Look at it, there's only a few franchises that have got more than 9 movies going for it.
It's true. True.
So it purely depends on what the next project is. But this is absolutely without a doubt the biggest game that we've ever made. So we're just really happy with the result, and the fans have just been really cool.
Well, dude, you should be. It took a little while for the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, to get to us, but man, it is a delight, and you guys should be very, very proud. And Mike, it was great to meet you, and continued success, and I can't wait to see what you surprise us with next. All right, give all my best to your team out there. Okay.
I will do. And yeah, and just a shout out to the entire TT Games team, like the effort that they've put in over these last few years to get this game where it is. And yeah, we're glad it's just been worth the wait for the fans. And yeah, we've just been really happy with the response. So yeah, thank you for having me on today and your kind words towards the game.
Great to meet you. Take care.
Andrew, bye.